Hello, good people of Room 8. Today we're going to take a look at preparing some canvases, blank canvases, for video and looking at the size that we need in order to produce our video images. And so what we're going to do today is just take a look at a way to create some nice little backgrounds using some of the different brush tools and changing our color and adjusting our opacity to create backgrounds that could be used for some projects that we'll put into our videos. So real simple. The first thing to do is just come up here and click on File on the main menu. Click New. And then right up here you can give this a name, and I'm going to go ahead and just call it Background 1. And then what you want to do is take a look here at these presets. And so we're going to need to use this film video size. And so you got all these different sizes here. We're going to choose film video. And then you'll see right away that gives us the standard size that we need for film and video, which is 720 by 480. And we're going to leave all these other settings the same. And then just click OK. And then we'll accept the pixel aspect ratio. And there we have it, 720 by 480 canvas with our safe zones illuminated, which will not be part of the picture. These are just guides. And you've got, we could go ahead and float this. We can grab this, bring this out here. Extend the gray space if we want a little bit more like that. And so this safe zone, I think we've gone over this before, but just to repeat. The inside here, you want to keep all of your subject matter within this area. When we start doing video, it'll have to do with what we call an action safe zone. And so we don't want people on the outside of that or any subject matter. And then this outer safe zone is that we never want our text to go beyond this zone here. Always want to maintain this margin all the way around without any subject matter that's critical or any text. And so we just use those as a guide. Now just to create some backgrounds here that we can use, maybe to layer some other pictures on top of, I simply just pick some colors here. I'll just pick some yellows, some fall colors here to deal with. Pick a foreground color. And if you want to go ahead and pick a background color too, you can do that at the same time. But I'm going to click back to that foreground color. And then take a look at our brushes here. And you can right click here. You see I have a brush tool, pencil tool, and some other tools. We're going to stick with the brush tool. And adjust the size of our brush. And it looks like I don't have a brush here. And the reason is probably because it's just too big. And so this happens to people sometimes here. You've noticed this and you go, well, what happened to my brush? Well, if I start making it smaller, maybe, let's see what happens here. I don't know, where's my brush? I don't know, it's too small now. Let's crank it up. Oh, caps lock, okay. So, with the caps lock on, you're just going to get that little cross, hit the caps lock, and then your brush comes back. And so that can be quite frustrating. So there it is. The other thing that can happen to you with brushes is if the brush is too big, it goes off the screen, and you think, well, where's my brush? You check your caps lock, everything's okay, and your brush is gone. Well, that's because the brush is the size of Texas. So you got to bring it back down here. And then what you can do is if you just want to paint, well, you can just cover the whole thing with paint like that. Or you could adjust the opacity up here. And then you could put less paint with each paint click. Like you just want some shading of that particular color in there. So you can work with that and experiment with that. Now, the other thing that you can do, I'll get rid of that and get back to white, is there's lots of different brushes to work with here. So I'm going to crank the opacity back up. And some nice little brush tools that you can use to have a good time with. You got wheat. You know, you might want to come in here and put a cute little frame around something like that. And, you know, maybe that's all you want to do. And then maybe you'd want to go back with just the brush, just the standard brush. And lessen that opacity and maybe just put a little light shading on this thing in places like that. And a background could be as simple as that. And maybe that's it. And say, well, I might have use for that, so I'm going to go ahead and save that. And There's a previous background. We'll just call this one maybe a wheat frame. Whatever it is you want to give it. And save that as a JPEG, by the way. Let me do that again. File. I'm going to save as, and make sure here, if it's at Photoshop, then what you'll want to do is just come down and save that as a JPEG right there. Save. Click OK. Oh, hold on a second there. We don't want to replace that. I'm going to give that my wheat frame name. Wheat frame 1. Click OK. And there it is. You could continue to do more work on this if you wanted to and then resave it again, or just close it and do another one. Come up with some new ideas. Come in there and you can always name this later if you want. Film video 720 by 480. Click OK. Bring that out and float it. One of the other tools you can use here if you want to get some colors out here real fast is, I'll just change that to something like a black there. And right here you have a paint bucket tool. Paint bucket tool. And there you go. Instant color change right there. And so if you wanted, you could start with a gray and then maybe layer some other colors on top of that. And some varying opacities. Back to the brush tool. See what else we can mess with here. I don't know. Let's see what this is. Click out there, resize that. I have no idea what that's going to do. Well, that's interesting. Okay. So lots to experiment with. Make a lot of backgrounds, and you will come up with some different and unique ideas that we can then incorporate into some video backgrounds that we are going to find useful.